Okay, so welcome to another episode of the Healing Matrix Online. Today, our guest is Oleg Fomenko. Oleg has worked in the business world for a long time, has a business background, has worked in multinational corporations internationally, and a few years ago, he co-founded Sweatcoin, the mobile app that counts your steps. And Oleg has always been very physically active. Used to do some athletics as when he was younger, and he's also always been very physically active and has been doing things like climbing Kilimanjaro and mountains. And I think I've seen your love for nature when we've been together, Oleg. And so I guess sort of bringing that aspect of you together with the business world into Sweatcoin was probably sort of putting two of your passions together. Is that correct?
Very much so. Well, thank you, Utsi. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being kind of interested in weaving my story into what you're building. You're right. I think that movement has always been an important part of my life. I've struggled to sort of sit still or, kind of doing hours of meditation, but I found it a lot easier to go on long walks. And as you mentioned, climbing Kilimanjaro and some other pretty high mountains. And,
yes,
but the story
as well as parachuting and skiing and all those sorts of things, of course.
Yes. Yeah, those as well. But I think that, while those other things I still occasionally do, walking is my kind of everyday staple. And walking in nature is something that I try to do multiple times a week. But I think the story of Sweatcoin was not just bringing those two, kind of business experience and love of walking together. It was driven by a kind of very simple and probably very familiar problem that most of your audience would relate to. The problem is that we all want to be more active, but we struggle with finding that motivation. And people tend to think that it's because they don't have enough motivation, energy, time, money. We find all of these excuses and we blame ourselves for not fitting enough physical activity in our everyday life. And, this works for people who run ultra marathons because they always claim that, oh, no, I'm not training enough. And also for those people that are stuck in front of sort of TV watching countless hours, they also want to be more active. So it's universal. And when you have a universal problem, you typically end up having a very simple, very universal kind of explanation as to why this happens. And in case of movement, it turns out that the explanation is very simple. It's not you who is not able to persuade yourself to be more active. Nature doesn't want you to. Nature didn't build you to be active. Nature built you to survive, and it optimized all the software that you have to preserve your life and to make sure that you survive through hardship and famine and times of scarcity. And that doesn't mean running around, burning energy, doing lots of pull-ups and looking good and having a six-pack. It means preserving that energy that you managed to acquire. So nature was so serious about it that nature gave us this behavioral feature or bug, as we would now probably classify it, that's called present bias. So we're focusing on survival right here, right now, which means that we don't move. And, there is only one way that you can overcome present bias known to man. It's called instant gratification. So when we figured it out, we started thinking kind of what instant gratification can we create for people so that they would start putting one foot in front of another more often, because we know it's good for us, especially if this takes you outside into nature. And we've invented Sweatcoin, which effectively takes your steps, verifies them to make sure that there is no kind of gaming and, people are not trying to turn their shakes and bumps into Sweatcoins. And what we consider genuine movement, we convert into Sweatcoins that people spend on good services and experiences. And now we have more than 40 million users in 40 countries.
40 million?
40 million, yeah.
Wow.
With 6.5 or 7 being active. And, what's most important, and I think would be very pertinent to your audience, we know that while most people or most tools can change behavior for a very short period of time, like people get their gym membership in early January, but typically this lasts for 3 to 4, maybe 6 weeks. And most people are gone from gyms by middle of February. Even software things like Pokemon Go also works for a very short period of time, 4 to 6 weeks on general. Our tool works on very long periods of time. We have a peer-reviewed medical study done with the University of Warwick that shows that we change behavior by 18.5%. So people walk 18.5% more per day than before installing our app over the period of 6 months.
And that's pretty amazing.
And what's even more important is that this behavior change is even greater in people who are overweight. So we're really helping those people that need this help the most. So, this is really, really exciting. And we're now starting to talk to NHS. We're launching a sort of pilot with them quite soon to assist them with dealing with pre-diabetes syndrome. And, we're talking to Public Health England in some of their kind of preventative programs that they are running. And we're also talking to a lot of insurance, especially life and health insurers, because clearly making people more active makes them less sick and makes them live longer. So, it's a very, very interesting insurance story as well.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, because I mean, hearing you speak, I've had a few thoughts. One is, I think you put it really, really well, that nature doesn't intend for us to move. That's not what nature does. Nature doesn't care about whether we move or we don't. But nature has a pretty good way of motivating, or basically nature creates a situation that a symptom of which, or a result of which, is movement. And the big motivator is danger. Danger will get you moving because you need to keep safe. And nowadays we live in a world, in the developed world at least, we live in a world that is, there is very little danger. Of course there is some, but there's very little danger. We even get our meat pre-packaged in supermarket without seeing any blood or anything, so we don't have to go and hunt it and risk our life for it. And so then it looks as though you've really, what's the word I'm looking for? You've really kind of sussed out the new motivator nowadays in this society, in this world, which is instant gratification. And so in that, you've actually got people moving, and then the health benefits of that, particularly in those people who are obese and pre-diabetic or diabetic, seems to be huge. And of course, there's no doubt that agencies like, the health sector and GP practices and other people will be really interested in actually modifying that behavior, because it's sustainable change.
Absolutely. I think that, I would just build on what you said. It's not just danger that makes us move. There are two things. One is carrot and the stick. So carrot, we get hungry, and, if you're hungry, you need to move to kind of source that food. And sometimes you need to move really fast if you want to catch prey, And kind of this is on one side. And another side, it's survival, so danger. So both of those make us move. But right now, as you rightly said, there are few dangers that make us move. But also, there is very, very little need for us to move if we want to, get fed. If before tribes was, living in a cave, they saw a mammoth, they would go and hopefully they would kill that mammoth, but then they would have to preserve that, and survive off that animal for as long as possible until next mammoth shows up. Now mammoths come 3 times a day on massive plates, and we don't need to even move. So, it's a, all of those, both of those things, the carrot and the stick, are working against our motivation or our ability to find movement in our everyday life. So we need to while I would say that I would probably not be keen to create more additional dangers in our life, because I don't think that this is, sustainable, because fight or flight, as we know in psychology, flight is really powerful, but you cannot really build on flight sustainable behavior change, because at some point people give up. So you need to use carrot, which is what instant gratification is, and build on that.
Yeah, and eventually people may find that they feel a lot better and a lot healthier, and they may also begin to discover the joy in walking.
Indeed, and they do. And the funny thing is that if you start talking to people who are on this journey, they frequently arrive to the start from very different places. Some people arrive through diet. Some people arrive through sport. Some people arrive through, I don't know, just serendipitous conversation and, starting to swim. It doesn't matter where you start, but if you do start, then all the pieces need to start falling into place. You cannot just be focused on eating food, dieting, nutrition. Once you start thinking about that, you end up thinking about calories and calorie burn and intake. And of course, the flip side of calorie intake is calorie burn. So you automatically start thinking about movement. Those people that start moving, they also end up thinking about nutrition, because if you start really paying attention to how well your body works, what your calorie burn in your training for marathon or what case might be, then you need to start thinking about, am I consuming right amount of calories? Am I consuming the right type of calories? So, no matter what the starting point is, as long as it engages people, it takes you into this kind of healthier mode.
Yeah. And I think your app does that as well, because, a lot of the services that are on offer, so a lot of the goods and services that you can exchange your Sweatcoins for. And so this may be a good way of just giving our audience a little bit of an overview how it works. You start clocking Sweatcoins, and then at some point you can spend them on, normally the products on offer are related to health. And so I think something important to highlight in what you just said is that, we need also all areas of our life to be healthy for us to be healthy. So we need to have healthy thinking, we need to have healthy feelings, we need to have exercise, we need to have diet, and so on. And some people may think that diet is a quick way of maybe losing weight or getting healthy, and you can put healthy nutrients into your cells, but the toxic waste that your cells are going to discharge needs to be cleaned in some way, and exercise will help you detox that way. Without which it will go back into your bloodstream and stay there.
Yeah. And unfortunately, sometimes when I go into this, people go, "Oh, that's too complicated." No, it's actually pretty simple. Rather than overcomplicating the brief, do whatever you think is right, and then just sort of go on that journey. If you want to start with movement, start with movement. If you want to start with dieting, start with dieting. But as you said, if person is sort of genuinely interested, they quickly discover that, there is more that they need to do, and it happens organically and very, very naturally. It's not particularly complicated. It's not about building this extremely complicated regimens and stuff. One step at a time, and, you'll get there. Coming back to what you said, we do have a lot of health, fitness, sport, lifestyle stuff. But what you haven't mentioned, and we're discovering is also quite important, is financial wellness. Because, the worry of money for a lot of people right now is such an, kind of big thing that, poisons and affects mental health and therefore physical health. And, some of the stuff that we do and some of the partners that we bring on board do help people to think differently and approach the question of money in a way that gives them kind of more calm, measured, and less anxious attitude towards money. So financial wellness, while it sounds a bit wonky, it's true. Removing, some of the anxiety around money is helping a lot to move to a different plane of health.
So is that a service that you offer, or the service that you advertise in your platform, or how does it work?
Yeah, we work with a number of partners that would help people, for example, save day to day tiny little amounts that add up, and they can go against the pension, they can go against saving for something that people would not get otherwise. We periodically run partnerships like that. I think that even now today in the UK, we might have, let me just check. No, right now we have Look After My Bills, which is again a service that is linked to financial wellness. But we had a partnership with Clio and lots of other services that if people are concerned about money, just look up financial wellness, and you'll find quite a lot of different suggestions and solutions, or just install Sweatcoin and periodically pop into the marketplace, and a few times a month there would be something of interest to you.
Great. So it's really integral in that sense, in that, again, you've just talked about finances. I've seen many services for natural coffee and healthy snacks and subscriptions to yoga and many different things. And of course, money would become part of it, in that, again, we're talking about health being holistic, and it benefits everyone in the long run. I mean, I can't even begin to imagine the impact that your app may have on economy. If you're thinking you've got 40 million users, or 40 million people who've downloaded the app, and that already people walk more because of that, and they're already mitigating the symptoms of diabetes and pre-diabetes and obesity and so on. That must be a huge, I don't know if saving is the right word, but a huge saving to the health system and so on.
Yes, absolutely, and that's what we're working on, because everyone knows that movement is valuable. If movement wasn't valuable, we wouldn't have legs. Nature just wouldn't give them to us. But we don't know how valuable the movement is, and the movement is valuable to us because it takes us places. It opens up new ideas, and takes us into challenging situations. It burns calories. It helps our physical well-being, and but it also has really positive impact on those around us, because after walking in the woods, I know that my my well-being and my mental health and my attitude is so much better that it's good for my family. All of that is really positive impact on my risk and my life expectancy, and on how many days I spend sick. So it's good for our employers, it's good for medical system, it's good for insurers, and it's good for countries and taxpayers overall. So but in order for all of this to start working, we need to really spend time and understand the true financial impact of our movement, which is what we are busy working on right now with a number of insurers as well as academical partners, so that we truly start understanding what is the value of that additional step that we can persuade people to take. It's not a simple thing. It's not going to be done overnight, but I'm pretty confident that over time there will emerge an economy of movement where your activity is going to be truly tradable, where you're going to be able to use it as money to buy things. Sweatcoin is effectively giving this proxy right now, but it's not freely tradable. It's not on exchanges. It's not currency in itself. I'm sure we'll get there.
Well,
and part of our taxes will be payable in Sweatcoins. I can't wait for UK to say that part of my taxes will be accepted in Sweatcoins, because it means I really take care of myself. I really think of my health, and I'm really, really good business for this country.
Is there something like that in progress? I mean, are you working on that?
This is definitely where we want to get to, but and every time we're talking to governmental officials about this, they laugh and they say, "I see where you're heading," and I understand why that would be kind of interesting, but we need to walk before we run, so it will take time. This is significant mind shift, but it makes economic sense, and I'm sure we'll get there. Is it going to be in a year? Is it going to be in 3? Is it going to be in 5? I don't know. Hopefully in 3, but whatever it will take.
Yeah, and I still remember the days when we celebrated the fact that you got 1 million subscribers, and you've reached your first million, and now you've got 40 million. So I imagine that on some level you have exceeded your wildest expectations.
Yeah. Yes, that's true, because I was never thinking about particular sort of specific numbers. I was always hoping that it would be a truly global project, and we are still not there. We're only in 42 countries. I would like to make sure that we are present in 186, if I'm not mistaken. But it is amazing result, and it's not even scale that excites me. It's the fact that we really are able to deliver this, kind of increase in daily physical activity. Because to build something scalable or big, sometimes it's just a question of raising enough money and spending on marketing. But that's not the the way we build it here. We grew organically. People talk about us. Kid would talk to his mom, and the mom would talk to her kid, and kind of that's how the word spread. And the fact that we managed to grow on the back of really good product, and this product works not just for the user but also for society, is what's truly exciting here.
So what's the potential? What's the potential of Sweatcoin? I mean, if everybody were using it in an ideal world, what do you think could be possible?
Well, I think the potential is to become a kind of truly recognized currency, because as I said, we know that our movement has value. How valuable it is, we don't know. And in order to understand how valuable it is, we need to create an instrument of exchange and the market where, your movement can be traded. And that's what we are kind of moving towards. So being truly global, having 100 million users plus, and being a true currency that, you would be able to spend with, kind of in a lot of places with a lot of vendors and buy kind of stuff that kind of you buy every day. Hopefully one day Sainsbury's and Tesco's and Walmarts of the world will also be accepting Sweatcoin, so that would be exciting. And as I mentioned, states and governments accepting Sweatcoin as a recognition of your personal contribution into health and well-being of society.
So in your mind, when you think, if you take this to its maximum exponent, would you think that, Sweatcoin would become a currency and we could basically live, buy our goods, pay our taxes, pay our rent, whatever it is with Sweatcoin?
I don't know if it's going to be the only currency that will exist. I don't think that I'm not dreaming of that world, but I think that it will be a currency, an asset that is kind of backed and linked to our health and fitness, and it can perfectly coexist with pounds, dollars, euros, etc., as a kind of an additional element of economic system. But it will be freely tradable between all of those currencies, which means that if you want to, kind of sell your Sweatcoins and get dollars, you will be able to. So almost the distinction is mute.
Well, I guess currency is earned by producing something or doing something productive in some way, by adding value in some way. And so, when you work and you do a job, you're offering a service to someone, you're adding value in their life. And it sounds as though the benefit of the Sweatcoin is almost produced by taking away the additional expense that it would mean to be in a worse state of health or something. If you see what I mean.
Yes, no, it's one element. So one is reducing costs that would come otherwise. So if you don't move, then you'll be, more sick. If you don't move, you'll probably be less productive. If you don't move, your life expectancy will be shorter, and therefore, nobody wins in this situation. But there is also a flip side, which is, you do genuinely produce economic benefit, because Sweatcoin makes people more active. So they are moving more, and therefore they are producing not just saving on costs that otherwise would emerge, but they're actually adding value beyond that. So for example, there are certain levels of absenteeism. If you're active, you are sick less, and all of a sudden the average level of absenteeism would start going down, and the whole economic efficiency of commercial businesses and economy as a whole is going up. So you're producing economic benefit by walking more, by sort of burning more calories, by looking after your health. So it's saving cost and producing additional economic benefit. We've done various different analyses on the value of STEP. And, of course, because it's a very, very new concept and a very novel idea, the estimates end up ranging from, kind of single pence per Sweatcoin to 70 pence per Sweatcoin, which I guess if you have American audiences would be, 2-3 cents to probably close to $1 per Sweatcoin. And, it depends, it varies wildly depending on what assumptions you include, what behavior change you deliver. But, it definitely is not meaningless. It's not, it's not nothing. There is significant value in movement, and only together by kind of bringing this into kind of our thinking, we'll be able to truly understand over time, what is this value?
Yeah, and again, you may have access to numbers that you have got used to, but I guess from somebody who isn't like me, maybe quite mind-blowing. I mean, what did you say the value for Sweatcoin was?
Yeah, depending on the calculations, we get from single pence to kind of 2-3 pence up to 70 pence per Sweatcoin.
Per Sweatcoin, okay. And so
and one Sweatcoin is 1,000 steps.
Yes. So even if it were like, 10 pence or something like that, I think I've got like 4,000 Sweatcoins or something like that. So, I don't know.
It's a meaningful amount of money.
Yeah. So I don't know how I'm imagining that with 40 million subscribers, you have probably produced altogether quite a few Sweatcoins.
Oh yes. No, we have produced in total 6 billion, I think, Sweatcoins that are in existence right now. So that would be just over 6 trillion steps that were converted. Yeah, I think that kind of if you use that 10 pence, which again is, the range is really, really wild, but let's assume it's 10 pence, then we created value of about 600 million for the society. I haven't thought about it this way, but it's you know, it is conceivable to kind of think that way. I just wish that you know, that would be valuation of our company.
Yeah, well, it's 600 million, which means, you know, savings
Hello,
to.
Lucy, you there?
Yeah, I am here. Can you hear me?
There is a line.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi. Are you there?
Hello, Lucy.
I can. Can you see me?
Hello, hello.
Hi.
You disappeared. The lines gone dead.
I
hear you now. I
Okay.
can hear you now.
I could hear you and see you okay all the way. So I've done a bit of waving and things like that. So yeah, I was just saying that 600 million in savings to society. And so, of course, this is only taking into account the 40 million people that you have. I mean, I don't know what the world population is. And I am sure that there are many other people in the world who walk all that anyway. But of course, their steps are not being registered because they don't have the app. Many people don't even know about it. So, you know, if you start thinking about 600 million and you know that you make people walk more just because you've got the app and so on, then it's a huge saving to society, or basically money that could be allocated to do something else. So it's pretty big.
Yeah. Hello. The
Hello?
line is.
Did you hear me?
No, not the end of your sentence. Apologies.
Yeah. No, that's
for some
fine.
reason it's really patchy.
Yeah, I'm seeing you okay and hearing you okay. So there must be something on your end. Anyway, I was just saying that, you know, if you are basically saving 600 million to society with only a limited part of society, by the way, because there are many more people in the world, and you know that you actually make people walk more, or your app makes or entices people to walk more, the saving that could be generated worldwide is quite huge. And not only is it a saving, but it's money that then could be employed to actually do something else, like to build a hospital or to do whatever needs to be done.
Yeah, I think that, you know, kind of we're just starting this whole journey of calculating and kind of robust evidence of economic impact. So, you know, while it sounds really, really compelling, it's a little bit, you know, I would say far-fetched. We need to spend a bit more time and work with academical institutions to really kind of size it up properly and work with economists and kind of state economists to kind of really bring solid base to some of these estimates. But you're absolutely right. We're just at the very beginning of journey. And this is the type of conversation that we're having with the governments already, local governments in the UK, who really want us to come in and make, you know, kind of boroughs and areas more active, because you know, everyone understands that the citizens will benefit, local businesses will benefit. It's just that we haven't been thinking about it this way, and this paradigm shift and shift in the way we kind of value movement and the role of movement of our everyday life that is bringing that sort of seismic shift, and in the way even officials are looking at us. Because, you know, it's the same thing with mental health. You know, we were really not talking about mental health 5 years ago, and look at what's happening at the moment. You know, kind of it becomes really kind of focal point for a lot of the conversations. And, you know, physical activity has, you know, the benefits of it have been understood for a very, very long time, but we're taking it to the next level. We're bringing it into the, you know, kind of into the focus of not just lifestyle conversation and health, but economy, and, you know, making health part of the kind of economic thinking.
And of course, it has an amazing impact on the individual in terms of their health, because, you know, as we were saying earlier on, they're all related. So the more you move, the more toxins you will remove from your body. The more you move and the more active you get, the less probable you are to stay stuck in your mind, giving yourself a hard time because you did this or you didn't do that. Activity will make us a lot more proactive in terms of challenging our own thoughts and trying things out and really doing something something different than staying stuck. So I guess some mental health issues like depression and so on could be comparable on the physical aspect of being stuck at home in your old story, not being able to get out. And so getting out allows you to also create the momentum and the stamina to tackle mental issues too. So it's related to mental health, it's related to physical health, it's related to economy, it benefits economy and the businesses. I guess if it benefits life insurance companies and so on, it also means that they can offer their services at a more affordable rate if you are clocking Sweatcoins and what have you. It's all it's a global system that offers many benefits on many different levels.
Yeah, very much so. I'm glad you said this because the faster this happens, I think the healthier and the wealthier all of us will be.
Yeah, so we need to slice some of these bits and put them out in social media for people to access.
I'm very happy for you to do so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good. Okay, so I'm just aware of time, and I think you've got a meeting to go to quite soon. So it's probably good to sort of start wrapping up. I was curious about have you got any other numbers that may be quite mind blowing, or something? Any other numbers about what you've learned about people and their habits and health and insurance or whatever it is?
I'll just freestyle a little bit. Kind of the stuff that really kind of fascinates me is that. Europeans and especially British walk on kind of nearly double of an average American on a daily basis. And based on the analysis that we have, one of the major contributors is use of public transport versus private car. So if you have a choice of riding in a car or using public transport, if you want to live longer and be healthier, go for public transport. Another one that is really mind-blowing for me is 52% of our users have dogs. And again, having a dog is a major kind of predictor of you being more physically active. So, you want to move more, get a dog. It's evident and simple and quite obvious or sort of logical to follow, but we have really hard data showing that it fundamentally changes kind of the way people live on the physical level. I think that other numbers, especially mind-blowing numbers, I think I've already blew before. Well,
hang on, how many subscribers in the UK?
So about 20% of our users would be in the UK. About 65 would be in the US, and the remainder would be in continental Europe and Canada.
Okay. So that makes what, about 8 million in the UK or something?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't looked specifically at UK numbers, but yeah, it would be somewhere sort of 6 to 8.
Yeah, I think 20% is something like that, and then 65% would be something like, I guess, 25 million or something in the US, or 20.
Yeah, 20 to 25. Yeah.
Wow, that's huge. Yeah, and half of them have a dog.
Yes. It's half of those people that have answered this particular study, but it's representative of our user base. So yeah, it should be.
Yeah,
should be.
Great. So I guess, sorry, keep going.
No.
Okay.
Carry on.
So I was just going to say, just to sort of wrap up and so on. So basically, Sweatcoin is an app that you can download. both for iPhone and for Android. Is that correct? iOS and
Yes.
Android? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. So you can do that from the App Store.
Both iOS and Android, and we also work on Apple Watch. And we are, it would be probably right time to say that we're working on quite a lot of initiatives, including potentially adding indoor walking to our to verification algorithms. So as we are getting into winter season in Northern Hemisphere, we know that people start walking less outside. So we're very, very keen to deliver this before kind of snow hits us.
My request would be to include cycling and swimming. Because I used to run a lot and I used to clock Sweatcoins that way, and then I started swimming, and then I'm thinking I'm wasting all these Sweatcoins really. But anyway, so that will come, I guess.
Yeah.
So people can currently download it from the App Store or from Google Play, I guess. Or what's the
Play Store.
Play Store.
App Store and Play Store. Yeah.
And Play Store, so they can download it from there. It's all free of charge. So, you can't lose, just download it and start walking today, start walking outside and start getting some Sweatcoins. And then eventually you'll be able to trade them for some fantastic services and goods and what have you.
And one day you'll have the balance of Urzi. So, Urzi, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And wishing you and your platform all the best.
You're welcome, and thank you for being our guest. How do people find you?
How do people find me? I think they can find me on Sweatcoin under username Oleg.
Okay, so sweatcoin.co or something, I think it is.
Yes, I think that they should just install our app, and there will be functionality to find users. They can find Oleg and drop me a line there.
Yeah, and also every now and then you post on social media and so on. So again, if people want to follow you, they'll be able to be up to date with all the amazing things that you do.
Yeah, if you search for Oleg Fomenko Sweatcoin, you'll find me everywhere. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we have it.
Great. Well, Oleg, thank you very much for being our guest today, and all the best.
Thank you very much. Have a very good one, Urzi.
Bye-bye.